We're going to go back quickly to verse 9 because I feel I haven't done it justice. Reading from Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, and then I think I can go quickly. Reading from Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Book 1, Chapter 1, Text 9. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let's see if I can remember it. Jayati, jayati, nāmānanda-rūpaṁ murārer. Viramita dharma dhyana pujari āttaṁ. That's Viramita nija dharma dhyana pujari āttaṁ. Katham api sakṛd āttaṁ mukti-daṁ prāṇināṁ yat. Paramam ekaṁ jīvanaṁ bhūṣaṇaṁ me. All glories to Lord Murāri in the form of his all-ecstatic name. If any living being puts aside such tasks as meditation, ritual worship, and social duties, and even once takes to the Lord's holy name, the name will grant him liberation. That holy name is the greatest source of eternal pleasure and is my very life and ornament. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Taksur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vansha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So greetings from the Super Soul Farm. Very nice, vibrant, spiritual place. So we're still in the introduction. I think it's going to go fast once we get into the stories. And the basic theme here is, again, he's doing something that's extraordinary. Paramam disha antim anubhav. He has to describe transcendence at its topmost stage, its extreme transcendence. And it's not something that one can easily figure out. You have to have the capacity, you have to have, I mean, at this level, you have to have the intellectual capacity, of course, to conceptualize and express it. But that's not enough. The knowledge has to be the Dhammi Buddhi Yogam Twam. It has to be given to you. It's not given because it's God's heart, and no one reveals their heart unless they see that the person has love. So he begins with prayers to put him in the position to receive mercy, and also to inspire mercy. And therefore he prays to all the objects of mercy. And this is very relevant to our spiritual life. We need mercy And we should pray to all the objects of mercy. So now he's praying to the holy name. And part of prayer is to exalt the object of your prayer, to increase your feelings of humility and your experience of mercy. So jayati means all glories. Jayati, all glories, all glory. This is, you don't do jayati unless something is, exalted. I wouldn't put jai before any political leaders or any movie stars or any athletes. It's something that really deserves to be exalted, not some karmic appearance. It's not even the person, but real spiritual substance connected to God. Jayati, nāmānanda-rūpaṁ, Murāri, the name of Krishna. Nāmānanda-rūpaṁ, the nāmānanda-rūpaṁ, the form, the holy name is the form of ecstasy. Because it's spiritual, it's God, so God's energy, it's like the sun emanates light. God emanates love, which is ecstasy. So it's the essence of the form of the highest love. It can it can inspire within your heart that pleasure which comes from the energy, the energy between us and God, which is very natural because we have a relationship with God. And we can focus our mind on God, especially in the form of the holy name, and we clear off the coverings of ego that cover us from experiencing that pleasure, then nāmānanda-rūpaṁ. So he's glorifying that. And it's such a powerful process that viramata nija dharma, your own dharma, you can if you can put all that aside, vinamata nija dharma, jnana, pujari, āttaṁ, you can put it as, if you just you give up everything and you just surrender to the holy name of Krishna. You dedicate yourself to the service of God, then it easily grants liberation. And then there were verses that show exactly that, how powerful just chant aho bata swapachato griyan jivagre vartate nama tubhyam. Aho bata swapachato. How wonderful. Jivagre, just one pure name on the tongue. That's the culmination of every spiritual practice. The goal is not just liberation, but surupena vivastita, to be situated completely in the soul, which is consciousness and service and love. So if you take to this name, it will give you liberation. And there's so many references that are given there. And paramam ekaṁ, jīvanaṁ, bhūṣaṇaṁ, jīvanaṁ, bhūṣaṇaṁ, it's the ornament. Jīvanaṁ, it's my life. And I think we also have to get to that platform. Vaisheshika Prabhu gave a someone told me this. He was giving initiation, and he said, the holy name, it's not that he said it should be a priority. Everything should be put around that, not the other way around, that we fit the holy name in. But actually it should be. So it's just Sanatana Goswami's ecstasy and his glorification for himself and also for us. And then, so I think that's a little bit more clear explanation of that verse. And then he sums up his Mangala Charanam. Nama Sri Krishna Chandraya Nirapadi Kripakrite Yashri Chaitanya Rupo Bhut Tanvan Premarisam Kalo. I bow down to Krishna Chandra, the bestower of Nirapadi Kripa, boundless mercy. In the modern age, he has appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to distribute the taste of the pure name of Tanvan Premarasam in the form. So Namaha, not me. Nama, not me. This means not me. You offer obeisances to Krishna, who has unbounded mercy, but he's appeared. Now he's here as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to distribute prema rasa. And the prema rasa is the rasa of the Braja Bhakti, the residents of Vrindavan, this highest form. Prema Pumartha Mahan, the greatest value, the most wonderful thing. And because it's Nirapadi Kripa, Krite, he's the giver of unconditioned mercy, then we have some ability. And he has to say this also because he's going to give that in this book. And he has to let you know that it's possible. As followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Narottam Das Thakur said, when we dive deep into the ocean of the Sankirtan pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we alight on the ocean of Radha Krishna's pastimes. So now the story is going to begin in text 111. Bhagavad Bhakti Shastranam Ayam Sarasa Sangraha Anubhutasya Chaitanya Devatat Priya Rupata. This book collects the essence of scriptures teaching devotional service rendered to the Supreme Lord. These essential teachings I have personally realized under the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I received them from his dear devotee, Sri Rupa. So now what is the book about? Bhagavad Bhakti. Bhakti to Krishna. Bhagavad Bhakti Shastranam. Ayam Sarasa Sangraha. I've collected the essence of Bhagavad Bhakti Shastram. That's what this book is. I've collected the essence of this. And how did I do it? That I anubhutasya, this essence which was realized, Chaitanya Dev, Chaitanya Dev was realized under the shelter of Chaitanya, but Chaitanya also means life force. Chaitanya Charitamrita, the character of the life force. It also means the life force. It also means internal. I've collected how? I took shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and internally I was inspired in my heart. Chaitanya Dev, by the Lord of the heart, or by Chaitanya, who is God, both externally. And what is Guru? Guru is the external manifestation of the Supersoul. So he's saying, this book, it collects the essence, Bhakti Shastra, Bhagavad Bhakti Shastranam, Sangraha, collected, which is Anubhutas, the essence, which I realized. And what this is supposed to do, this is supposed to make us very, very eager, very, very eager to hear it. Because Prabhupada said, realization means the ability to communicate. I've explained this point many, many times. To speak in the frame of reference or language of someone requires an ability to change the form of the message to accommodate the understanding of the audience. To accommodate the understanding of the audience. That takes depth of realization. And he's saying the same exact thing that Sutta Goswami said to the sages of Naimisharanya. He said, I don't like when I remember, forget things that I know. Tata mati, tata mate, tata didi, tata. I heard it and I realized it. And therefore I'm explaining to you. And what was Sutta Goswami's reaction? Sutta, not a grammatical defect, but when, out of enthusiasm, something can repeat. Mahabaho. This is so wonderful. So Sanatana Goswami is standing before us and saying, I have realized this essence. And I've received it from Priyarupata, the form, Priyarupata, the form of my dear Lord, or Priyarupa, or from my dear devotee. He credits his brother, who actually was his, I think, his initiated disciple. And I realize this too, that you can't box in devotion. It moves in ways that are beyond our control. And a disciple can be the guru and still have respect for his guru. The example was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda-Roy. Ramananda-Roy was asking, Lord Chaitanya was asking Ramananda-Roy to tell me a verse which highlights the highest realization. And the analogy was given, well, Ramananda-Roy is like a cloud. He's going to pour the nectar of all these realizations on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But where has he got them? He's got them from the rain cloud gets the water from the ocean. The ocean gets the water from the rain cloud. So very interesting. So now we'll go on. Shrivantu Vaishnava Shastram Idam Bhāgavatāmṛtam Sagopyam praha yat premna jamanir janamajaya. May the Vaishnavas kindly hear this confidential scripture. Sri Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Jaimini Rishi spoke it to King Janamejaya in the enthusiasm of pure love. So he's addressing the Vaishnavas, and he's saying, Shinvatu, may you hear this shastram, may hear this shastram, Sri Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta Sugopyam, but it's confidential. So it's not for everyone, it's for the Vaishnavas. And he's specifically saying it. He's addressing the audience. He's not saying scholars. May the Vaishnavas kindly hear this. I'm not speaking this for others. I'm speaking to the Vaishnavas because they have the frame of reference to understand it. And it's not just any Vaishnavas I'm speaking this to, because it's the Bhāgavatāmṛtam, which means amṛta, the most relishable essence of a text concerning discussion of God, the most relishable essence, Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛtam, the most amṛtam, the most relishable essence of a shastra concerning God. So it's for the Vaishnavas. And which Vaishnavas? Because it's the most relishable essence. It's for the Vaishnavas who are devotees of Krishna. And then he says, Jaimini Rishi spoke it to Janamejaya. And Jaimini Rishi was in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Vedanam Samavedosmi, among the Vedas, I am the Samaveda, and Jaimini Rishi was designated by Vyas as in charge of that. And it's a preparatory devotional work. So, an exalted Vaishnava, and Janamejaya is the son of Maharaj Parikshit. So you have Muni Raj, you have a great Muni and a great devotee. So this is where this is going to take birth. And that's where depth of realization takes birth. Because God blesses that bodhya Machitamakata prana bodhya parasparam. This exchange, this Srinvata Swa Kata Krishna Shravana Punya Shravana Kirtana, Krishna Siritsitam, he's blessing. So he wants us to sit up and he wants to listen because this is extraordinary. And we've actually been, it is extraordinary. And we've actually been invited. Because he's telling us you're invited. And what I'm going to tell you was about this incredible discussion between this great devotee who was in charge of the Samaveda, and Vyasadeva recognized him as an expert knower of the purports of the Vedas. And they're meant to help materialistic Brahmins prepare themselves for a devotional understanding. And it's Suguyam. What does it say here? It's Sugupyam Sugopyam, it's most confidential. So it's spoken in a very, very confidential way. Confidential subjects are spoken among trusted people. And therefore, in that environment, there's no motive for speaking it. So now this story is quite extraordinary. Muniraj Jamane Shrutva Bharatakyanam Adbhutam Pariksham Nandano Prichat Tatkilam Shavanot Sukha. After Janame Jaya, the son of Parikshit, heard the wonderful Mahabharata recited by the great sage Jaimini, Janamejaya was still eager to hear more, so he inquired about the supplement to this epic. So what happened is he was being instructed in the Mahabharata. But again, and this is such an important point, a text is not just the ink, it's not just the paper, it's the message. And a person speaks the message according to the audience. So the Mahabharata is the great history of India. But because the one that was spoken by Vaishampayana, which is the only version we have, it was meant for the public. The Mahabharata is compiled by Vyasadeva. It's the history of the pious royal dynasty of the Bharat. But how you explain that history will be according to the audience. Even in Krishna consciousness, we know that. Think of different people that you would speak to. Think about someone who really looks up to you and is younger. Look at someone that was not a devotee and you respected it. There would be such a difference. The same subject will be explained in so many ways. It's like wisdom of the sages. It's the Bhagavatam. It's based on the Bhagavatam. But there's a real effort to communicate it to a little bit of a broader audience than is usually done in a Bhagavatam class. And therefore, it has a slight flavor of a Bhagavatam show, but it's substantial is given. I don't listen to Wisdom of the Sages. I think it's great, but somehow it's not on my schedule, so I can't speak so authoritatively. I saw some of them. But you can understand, they get 10,000 people because they presented in a certain way. So the Bhagavatam was in 4 verses initially, and then was expanded. And you look at Prabhupada's purports. I'm going to read the Bhagavatam today. Mostly what you're reading is Prabhupada's purports. So the same thing, this is revealed. And we've never heard this before, but there's different versions of the Mahabharata. And what Jaimini Rishi is hearing, speaking about, is another edition of the Mahabharata. One second. It's another edition of the Mahabharata. And Janamejaya says, I've never heard this before. It's something different. It's something special. And it had such a wonderful effect on his heart. And what's going to be explained in the next verse is that, Krishna was presented in one way for the strategy. Sometimes when we preach, we don't put Krishna right out in front. I know when I would preach in the yoga worlds, I wouldn't mention Krishna initially. I would mention the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. I would mention the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. And speak on karma with authority. And what I would say is, by my ability to conceptualize and express these ideas in our philosophy about karma and things that were according to the environment, according to the frame of reference of our audience, people develop faith in my authority. And it would come to a certain level with the audience in these bhakti classes where I can explain Krishna more directly. So there's different ways in which you explain the philosophy, and different things are emphasized for different people. So Krishna is not emphasized. Of course, the Bhagavad Gita is there, but in generally, the personality of Krishna is not developed as it is in the Bhagavatam in such a relishable way. And when Janamejaya heard from Jaimini Rishi, this incredible, one of the great Vaishnava scholars of all time, when he heard this second Mahabharata, it was so relishable. Just like when we're hearing this Bhagavatam, this Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, I'm thinking this should be so relishable. So now we'll see what happens. Shri Janamejaya Uvacha Navaisham Payanat Prapto Brahmanyo Bharate Risa Tatvo Labha Satachisham Madhurena Samapaya. See, Janamejaya said, O Brahman, by hearing the Mahabharata from Vaishampayana, I never obtained the same relish I have obtained by hearing from you. Please complete this recitation with perfect sweetness. So what's going to explain is that actually he wants a very beautiful Madhurena, so complete it, like just some, it's mentioned previously, the Harivamsa is the Kila supplement to the Vaishapayana Mahabharata, and Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta is the Kila or supplement to the Mahabharata spoken by Jaimini Rishi, which is so relishable because it brings Krishna out in the front. Of course, it's the history of the royal dynasty, but Krishna is there. But how do you present him? King Janamejaya preferred the second version of the Mahabharata, the version he had heard from Jaimini Rishi, because it more openly revealed the transcendental taste of loving service rendered to Krishna. Srila Dwaipayana Vyasa had presented his other Mahabharata to appeal to the widest audience. Frivolous women, uncultured men, and materialistic Brahmins. And so in the course of telling his epic, he had, for the most part, hidden Lord Krishna's glories. In the Mahabharata narrated by Vaishapayana, Krishna usually acts subordinate to the Pandavas as their friend and advisor, rarely showing his supremacy. On the testimony of Janamejaya, recorded for us by Srila Sanatana Goswami, Jaimini's Mahabharata is by contrast a purely devotional scripture on the sublime level of Vyasadev's later masterpiece, Srimad Bhagavatam. So, O Brahman, O personification of Brahman, of the Vedic sound, Janamejaya is requesting, O personification of the Vedic sound, please give me something, and Madhuram Same, please end it with a Madhurena, a sweet note. The ecstatic taste only known, Madhurena Samape, only known, the ecstatic taste only known in relationship with Krishna and his devotees. And now, and this is something I think we will, I guess we can cover it too. Sometimes I'm going really fast. Oh, okay. Text 1:15 to 17. Sri Jaimanir Uvacha Shukadevo Padashena Vihatta Shesha Sadvasam Samyak Prapta Samastartam Sri Krishna Prema Samputam Sani Krista Nijabhishta Padarohana Kalakam Srimat Parikshitam Mata Tasyartha Krishna Tatpara Virata Tanaya Kante Prachad Etam Yapotamam Prabodhya Nandita Tena Utrena Sneha Sampluta. This is amazing. You haven't read it. So now Jaimini Rishi is going to explain what the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta is. And it's very amazing. What's going to be explained here is that after Maharaj Parikshit heard the whole Bhagavatam, you want to be fearless at the time of death, chant, hear, and remember Krishna. He was completely satisfied, completely peaceful, completely fearless. And he had about an hour or so left to live, or a very short time at the end, and then his mother comes. And I can only kind of sense the humor of that in one sense. I could see that. I remember at my Vyas Puja, I had a little humor added, but at my Vyas Puja, my wonderful mother would come. And she was quite, as Gail knows, quite an intelligent and powerful person. So I knew they were going to, worship me now. And all of a sudden during the worship, my mother's like right in front with back to everyone taking pictures. And I'm kind of whispering under my breath, Mom, not now. Not now. So when I heard this, that Uttara, his mother, comes at the last hour. The last hour, she comes just when Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Praniyate Malaye Samyak Maniyate, complete focus, deep faith. This is the best thing to do. This is better than living, is dying with my consciousness fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna. He got this from hearing the Bhagavatam. He got this level of faith that we all need, because Prabhupada said, as sure as death, he told his disciples at the end, don't think this won't happen to you. His young disciples. Now we're all older than Prabhupada when he came to America. Don't think this won't happen to you. So it's going to happen. Even though we deny it, deha patya kali pradishu atmasanyesh vasatsvapi. Hesham pramada nidhanam prashanapi napashyati. It's going to happen to us. We want to be fearless. And Maharaj Pricket, how do we do that? By hearing the Bhagavatam. And understanding that my famous statement, copyrighted, death is the illusion of non-existence. Death is the illusion of non-existence. So at that moment, his mother comes. And he quickly pacifies her. But the mother was a very advanced devotee. So very quickly she became pacified, which enabled her to express why she came. It was not just to see her son at the end, because she already knew asochan anvasocham stvam pragyavadams jabashase gatasun agatasun cha nanu panditi socha. Well, while Krishna says to Arjuna, while speaking learned words, you're a fool, because the wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. They lament for ignorance, which gives people the experience of non-existence. But they don't lament for non-existence because non-existence doesn't exist. So she's not lamenting for her son. She's at this very high level of spiritual realization. But she wants the nectar. So what Maharaj Pricket has to do, he only has an hour or 2 hours left. He has to summarize the whole Bhagavatam in 2 hours in a way to accommodate the time limit, the eagerness of his mother, and the situation. And he manages to brilliantly do it in this story, which is a completely different story from the Bhagavatam, but it's exactly the Bhagavatam. It's exactly the same message. Okay. Sure. Jayati, you'd like to start off?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class. I was really struck by something you said at the beginning. You've said it a couple times when we were going through the opening prayers, and you were saying that to exalt the thing, to make it higher, so the distance between the thing and us. And I was really sort of struck by something. We're making the distance bigger so that in a way
bigger, we're making it what it is.
What it is, yeah. And
bigger than what we conceive it.
Yes, yeah, that's it. And then I was thinking, once we do that, actually, in a way, the distance gets shorter, because then God will reach down to us and we feel closer, you know? I was thinking we block it, but when we make the distance what it is, it's almost like we come closer in a way, if that made sense.
We do come closer because we realize Krishna more.
Yes.
Realizing Krishna more is realizing his exalted nature. And the more you realize the exalted nature, when you're in contact with Krishna, the more you feel his kindness. Because the bargain you're getting for your meager chanting of your rounds and your meager prayers, you're realizing, you were thinking, you were thinking it was let's see, I don't know what to say, a Toyota Corolla. So, oh, it's so nice. I'm getting a Toyota Corolla. You're so kind. And I only paid $100. And you give me a Toyota Corolla. And then what you realize is, you're getting a Rolls Royce.
So
you feel, oh my God, you're even more kind.
Mm.
The husband comes in and you see the picture in the doorway and he says, I got a gift for your birthday and here's the keys. And she says, what is it? And he said, a Toyota Corolla. And she said, you. And then he opens the door and it's actually a Rolls Royce. Oh, I love you. It's even more kind. Okay, thank you, Jumanajaya.
Thank you, Raj.
Any questions? Gail?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you. We say that the guru is the external manifestation of the paramatma in the heart, right?
Yeah.
But then we also understand that when the devotee or the jiva turns toward the paramatma or Krishna, then Krishna does not relate to that person as paramatma. He relates to him as Krishna. Paramatma just, he just witnesses. He doesn't interact.
Paramatma means sarvasya chaham hidi sani vishto matasmitir gyanam. I'm situated in everyone's heart. And for me comes remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge. So what, in the sense, it's the, Prabhupada said, the form direction of God. You're getting instructions within the heart. It's basically talking about Guru Tattva. It's talking about God's potency to instruct us and bring us back home. So that comes from the heart and it can manifest externally. The same instructions. That's what it means.
But when he's giving instructions, doesn't he do that as Krishna?
There's not three persons.
I know, but I'm saying, I know it's one person, but I'm saying the role, the mood, the role that he's playing is it not as Krishna rather than as Paramatma? That maybe we have to take this offline because,
to me, it depends on your realization, but God in the heart, we generally call it's Krishna. Yes, but Krishna is also the Paramatma. Anyway, we'll take it offline. It's like right. Okay, we'll take it offline, Gail. Okay. Anybody else like to say hello, make a comment?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. This is Krishna-katha. Thank you so much. I'm very much impressed with the story when Uttara came at the last moment, and it was such a tension of the moment, and she came to ask him for this higher realization. I didn't know about that before, that it was such thing. And I also loved very much that Krishna is unbounded mercy, and he is like the sun, and he emanates love, and which is ecstasy. It's so impressive.
Thank you for always your nice appreciations. Pray that I can visit Moscow again. Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Garaj. Welcome in.
And Bṛhad, thank you for class.
Thank you for class.
Thanks so much for coming on and keeping the Sanga going. That's great. Okay. So Sunday, we got a nice program. I think it's really going to be great,
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, we had these programs have just been, they had never been nicer, actually. The community is just, it's growing in a nice way. So
yeah, it's great.
Okay. Haribo.
Haribo.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Tota Gopinath here. Great to hear from you.
Great, thanks, Tota.
Hare
Thank you so much. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, it's Gopi Gita. Thank you for class.
Oh, Gopi Gita, Haribo. Great to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Surya Radhika here. Thanks
Hey,
for the class.
Radhika. Okay, in Tehran, right?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, yes.
Okay, nice to see you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I love that you regularly here. It's so nice,
you.
but because before having disciples in Iran, but you know, you can't contact them, you see them once every few years. Now this is great. Somehow we're using the medium. Okay, anybody else?
Your blessing. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes, great to see you. God, I'm so happy you both are now so steady. You're
Thank
so
you very
steady.
much, Maharaj.
This
Haribol.
island of Kish is such a center of, anyway, Hare Krishna. Okay, okay, Haribo.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Oh, hello,
Amalakamalaka.
Hare. Thank you so much. Great.
Hare Krishna.
I-
Thank you, Gurudev.
I have to decide today whether I'll give class tomorrow or not for the Russian devotees. We'll see. Okay, Haribo.
Wow. I'm very happy.
Okay.
Thank you. very much.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, I'm just going to look at the names so I see everybody. Wow, I see everybody's there in class. Okay, thank you all so much. So happy to you all listen. Okay, bunch of culprits.